Hey there YouTube, this is SGM4306 back with another quick video. So I'm at home right now over break, and I just wanted a quick little video to do and make a little bit of cash on the side. So I have all these duplicate Pokemon games. I already have at least one or two other ones that I'm keeping for myself. And so these are extras and I don't play them, don't need them. So the only issue is their batteries are dead. So for instance, this Pokemon Gold will no longer save. Also, the real-time clock doesn't work. And these copies here, they don't use battery-backed SRAM. However, the internal like real-time clock and whatnot don't work in these either. So I believe this guy doesn't use a battery backup, but these three will actually need to be have their internal batteries replaced so that I can resell these and make the most profit. So I went to the dollar store and they had these. I saw two for $1, so 50 cents each, and I really only need three of them, I guess. I bought more than I needed, but let's try to fix these up. So I'll give you a quick view of what they do when you encounter an old Game Boy game where the battery has died. So here you can see it just says new game, and that's it. Normally, you can try saving. However, everything's reset. The real-time clock is no longer keeping track of time. The battery is pretty well and tuckered out, especially you consider this is from, 2001? And batteries don't last, nearly that long. It's already over 10 years old. And these games, I believe these came out maybe 2003, something like that. Yep, there we go. These are dead as well, and this will actually give you a real-time clock error. The internal battery has run dry. The game can be played, however clock-based events will no longer occur. And the shop that I took these to originally, I wanted to see how much how much they would give me with dead internal batteries, because I know they replace them themselves. And they told me that I would get about half the value of what the game would be as if it had a working internal battery. So it's in my best interest, if it only cost me 50 cents per battery, to replace them myself. So we're going to do a quick montage, go through, open all these games up and replace them. And maybe I'll give a little bit of commentary on the side. So what you are going to need is not a tri-wing for that one. You will need a Nintendo Game Bit. Looks like this. They can be bought off eBay, and yeah. And these guys need tri-wings. Just to show you guys, there's no battery inside. This is a flash memory chip, I believe, this one, and this is a game ROM. Yep, it says 512K flash / 1 meg flash. And this one says mask ROM. So there you go. Just in case you guys are interested, here's a multimeter that you cannot see. There you go. And we should be measuring somewhere around 3 volts if it does indeed work. 0. So that's well and truly dead. I have the leads backwards, but yeah, it's about 0.1 something volts, so well and truly dead as well. About 0.3 volts. So yeah, these batteries definitely need replacement. So let's go through, and I guess we'll assembly line this. So the method that I use, this isn't a great permanent fix. It'll work. So I don't have any of the tab batteries, obviously, and these cells are much larger than the ones that I'm replacing. But the benefit is, once I squeeze the cell in, it'll last quite a bit longer than the original cell, which is much smaller and has a smaller capacity. So this is going to take a little bit of fiddling. I've replaced these batteries with CR2032s before just fine. I've never done it for these. I've read online that it is possible to do that with these Game Boy Advance games, but you want to get your little pocket knife in there. Be very careful. and sort of start very carefully torquing the knife to get in between the battery and the metal tab. There are some welds in there, some thermal welds that we want to break. So there, we got one off. Now, very carefully, we want to do the same to the other side. The reason why we're not desoldering these and we're leaving these tabs on is we want to be able to, there we go, focus, still have something that we can put these batteries on. I'm going to be taping the battery in between these pads, not soldering them, because if you do solder these metal tabs to the surface, by heating this battery, you're actually damaging the internal circuitry and whatnot. You'll probably be accelerating the loss of the capacity. So I'm just taping them on. It's good enough as long as you're not like throwing around your Game Boy games. It'll work long term just fine. Just be careful when working with the knife. This one's a little bit dull. I just need some kind of flat blade to get in there. Be very careful you don't slip and stab yourself in the hand. That would be very bad. Also be careful you don't slip and damage some of the surface mount components on the board. So there. This one's off. So this battery was face up. So you can see here, there's little negative signs on the top here. So the negative is facing upwards, and the positive is facing downwards. So first thing, grab some pliers, and we bent the metal. We want to flatten it now. Now, if you can, and you have availability to buy the batteries with the tabs pre-installed, that's honestly the easiest way of doing it. But this is absolute cheapest way of doing it. It'll cost me no more than the replacement batteries, and it'll work, so that's why I'm kind of being lazy and just doing it this way. So there we go. Just bend this down a little bit. And what I'm going to do is take a little bit of tape and stick it underneath this. So as I said, positive goes towards the main board. Just stick it down, and when we put on the lid, it'll be a little bit of a tight fit. It'll press that down. And we want to be careful, so make sure that you're not shorting between the top and the bottom of the battery. There has to be some isolation. And just make sure that there's enough clearance on there. Stick a little bit of tape on there. You might need to readjust based off of the case. But let's try and see if this fits. Let's see. And pop this guy out. Same exact process. I'm absolutely sure this will fit. It's just a little bit thicker, but these game carts, there's enough room for it in it. I've done this for the Game Boy camera, as well as my other copy of Pokemon Blue had a dead battery, and I replaced it with one of these, as well as I think my copy of Pokemon Yellow also came with the dead battery. So here we go. Insert it. And the pressure from the case will actually push down on the tape and keep it in. So as long as you don't unscrew this, your save file will be fine. So you could see before it wasn't saving. There was no game save in there. I'll just start a game quickly, save it as soon as I can, and then just go and save the game. Saving. Saved. So we'll turn it off just to prove. Pull out the cart. Not being powered. If this didn't have a working battery, save battery, the save file would now be erased. Put it back in. Turn it on. There we go. Continue. And SJM, what I named it, and there we go. We're working. So this will be good for another, well, I mean, these cells, these are 2025s, actually. These last about 10 years from what I've read. The capacity difference between these and these 2032s, these have maybe a little less than double the capacity. But you have to take into account shelf life also. These batteries, even if they're fully charged and not being used, they die on their own, basically. There's some leakage current. So this will last at least another good 10-15 years now. So this I can go ahead and resell. These I need to find the thinner batteries. The 2025s, I guess, is what these were. So, quick little addendum. I'd managed to scrounge up some CR 2025s. I had a few old cells lying around, and these will be good enough to get this guy going. They already have more capacity anyway than the original CR 2016, I believe. Or actually, it's smaller than, what is this guy? CR 1616, yeah, so this is much smaller. So these will easily, even in a slightly depleted state, still give a lot more battery life. So, just open these up and show you guys that it is a tight fit, I'll admit, but it fits. It doesn't bulge the case. And yep, just using some double-sided sticky tape, slide the 2025 in there, and carefully put it in on the side near the battery first, and then you can line it up and very carefully slide it back. And I did the exact same thing for this guy too. So let's pop one of these guys in. Yeah, the problem with using tape instead of welding the battery, you really shouldn't solder these batteries, but if you wanted to do it right, you'd use a terminal welder, and you'd actually connect it permanently like the original battery was. So let's see, yeah, this does not give the error at all. And yeah, the real-time clock works on this guy now. So, just screw this back together. It helps that it's a bit of a snug fit because that actually puts pressure in to make sure that even if you bang the cartridge, that it's not going to be coming out on its own. One more thing. Thought it'd be interesting. I've never done this before, but to cut this guy open and see what's inside a battery. This one's already dead, so it's not going to explode or anything. Not that I would expect. These batteries don't have that high of a capacity, so it's not like they're very destructive or anything. So we're just going to take a pair of pliers and kind of pry at the seal between the two metal halves. And once we get this out enough, we should be able to pry off the top. Yourself before you wreck yourself. Incidentally, I accidentally cut myself today on a sharp piece of plastic while taking something apart, but it's fine. You can already smell, has a sort of a sweet smell, which is kind of odd. So there, it's a disc inside of a metal disc. Yo, dog. And there we go. Oh, you can see the inside is corroded, I guess, from the reaction. And this is probably not great for me to be touching with my fingers, is it? Yeah, gonna wash my hands afterwards, but it looks like there's a paper separator, and underneath that is the chemical reactant. And this looks like it's a semi-permeable. So this is probably soaked in the electrolyte, and whew, that is a strong smell. It smells strongly of chemicals. And there's a sort of a solid kind of pancake of the dry material. And the bottom of the metal case, and there's a grid. It's sort of like a mesh, wire mesh, that this dry electrolyte, or whatever it is, this dry material, is formed into a pellet around. sort of this mesh material to give it, I guess, shape. And this is soaked in the electrolyte, and the other side, I don't know, there might have been some other chemical on here, or it might have just been the terminal itself, but yeah, you can see basically just, 4 parts, including the 2 outer metal shells. So yeah. Oh man, that smells really strongly. I'm going to throw that out now. And yeah, I just wanted to show you guys what's inside one of these little tiny lithium batteries. Anyway, I'm not a chemistry major, so I don't know the exact composition of the chemicals inside, but I thought that'd be interesting. Anyway, hopefully you guys liked the video, and laters.